Hi everyone, I'm back with an amazing pineapple pie that tastes incredible. Just look at this texture, so soft it melts in your mouth. Wow, just see this texture. To make it, mix 3 eggs with 2/3 cup sugar and 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. Beat the mixture with an electric mixer on high speed for 6 minutes until it becomes thick, voluminous, and light in color. Make sure not to reduce the beating time I mentioned. Next, add the pineapple juice to the mixtures first, then the oil, and beat a little more with the mixture until everything is well combined. Then add the coconut powder and gently fold it in with a spatula in one direction so that batter does not lose its volume. Shift the flour and baking powder and add them to the batter, stirring in one direction. Pour the batter into a piping bag or use a spoon to fill the paper cupcake liner up to 2/3 full. Slice the pineapple rings and place them on top of the batter. Be careful not to press them down into the batter. Bake in a preheated oven at 170 centigrade for 25 to 30 minutes. When you take them out of the oven, brush the tops with diluted honey while they are still hot and sprinkle with the pistachio powder for decoration. Your pineapple pies are ready. I hope you make them and enjoy them with your loved ones. Come and try a delicious and amazing restaurant style garlic steak pizza. Juicy steak with the aroma of garlic on a crispy hot crust that you won't be able to resist. Just take a close look at the pizza's texture. The steak melts in your mouth and the Italian crust is absolutely fantastic. I promise if you follow my recipe exactly, you will never set foot in a restaurant for this pizza again. Just look at how thin it is. First, we need to make the special garlic sauce for the garlic steak pizza. 30 grams of basil, 60 grams of parsley, 4 cloves of garlic, 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper, 1.5 teaspoon of meat extract, 100 grams of olive oil, cold water if needed. Put all the ingredients in a mixer and food processor and blend until smooth. If the sauce gets too thick, add a few tablespoons of water. The quantities I'm giving you are enough for 2 or 3 30-centimeter pizzas. And you can store the sauce in the freezer for up to a month. The sauce should reach this consistency, which is good and does not need any water. Now let the sauce rest in the fridge for an hour. That's how you make restaurant-style garlic sauce for a steak pizza. Now let's move on to the ingredients needed to marinate the steak. This marinade will make your steak taste amazing. 250 grams of cold butter, 1.5 tablespoon of meat extract, 1.5 tablespoon of paprika, 1.5 tablespoon of black pepper, 5 grams of salt, 10 grams of balsamic vinegar, 50 grams of tomato, 1 clove of garlic, 1.5 medium onion, 120 grams of vegetable oil. Put all the ingredients except the oil into a food processor and blend until smooth. Gradually add the oil so it gets fully incorporated in the sauce. The final consistency should be thin and the color should be. Then let it sit in the fridge for an hour. Tomato-like. Now slice the frozen beef fillet thinly as shown. Brush the bottom of the dish with the sauce and layer the steak slices. Brush more sauce on the top of the steaks, cover with plastic wrap, and brush more sauce on the wrap. Add another layer of steak. Then refrigerate the steaks for 6 hours. Ingredients for making Italian dough: 500 grams of flour, 250 grams of cold water, 20 grams of oil, 1/4 tablespoon of dry yeast, 1/5 tablespoon of baking powder, 5 grams of sugar, 5 grams of salt. Making Italian dough is simple. Mix all the ingredients together except for the sugar and 10% of the flour. Ideally, you shouldn't add the salt and sugar together, but I'm in a hurry, so I did. We add sugar to the dough to make the crust golden and crispy. Also, the water should be cold so the dough does not ferment quickly if left out. Italian dough, unlike American dough, can stay in the fridge for just 1 day. For 500 grams of flour, you will get 750 grams of dough, which makes 3 30-centimeter pizzas. When adding flour, make sure to shift it first. Adding too much flour will make the dough tough. Add flour gradually until the dough comes together. I added the flour in stages, and when I used 90% of it, the dough came together. Knead the dough in the bowl with your hands. If it sticks to your hand, put a little oil on your hands and knead for 15 minutes. If the dough sticks to your hands, it means it hasn't reached the right consistency yet. Try to avoid adding more flour and instead get rid of the stickiness by kneading. Take the dough out of the bowl, sprinkle flour on your work surface and knead the dough for 10 minutes using the heel of your hand. To check if the dough is ready and does not need more kneading, shape the dough into a ball in your hand and then cut it in half with a knife. The surface of the dough should have small holes. Italian dough has fewer holes than American dough. Grease your bowl, put the dough in it, cover it with plastic wrap, and then place a towel over the wrap. Let the dough rest for an hour. After an hour, punch down the dough and take out 250 grams of it. Since my pan is 33 centimeters, I took 270 grams of dough. First, make sure to sprinkle flour on your work surface. Lightly oil your hands, shape the dough into a ball, then roll it out with a rolling pin. Transfer the dough to your pan. Lift the edges of the dough and then fold them back down to create a ring around the edges of the pan. Spread 2.5 tablespoons of the garlic sauce evenly over the surface of the dough. Then sprinkle 170 grams of pizza cheese over the sauce. Next, arrange 160 grams of steak slices on the top of the cheese. Place the steak slices close together because they will shrink and create gaps during baking. Fill the gaps with 50 grams of mushrooms. Mushrooms are optional, but don't place them on the top of the steaks. If you like, you can also add bell pepper pieces in the empty spaces between the steaks. After that, add rings of olives. You can use black olives if you prefer. Bake the pizza in a preheated oven at 235 centigrade for 10 to 12 minutes. And there you have it, an incredibly delicious garlic steak pizza. I hope you make it and enjoy it with your loved ones.